Welcome back to my channel, this is Kuro, and happy Halloween to everybody. So yesterday was my birthday. I screwed up a little bit. I didn't manage to record the happy birthday wishes from all my servants from Fate Grand Order, because I was planning to do that, but I sort of got caught up and got a little bit too busy to do that. I also skipped out on the Yu-Gi-Oh episode, because I thought since it's going to be a new chapter, we should take a break, and I wasn't going to upload anything for that. I'm also working on getting Pokemon completed, so hopefully we'll be able to see some more Let's Go Pikachu episodes. Other than that, it's been a busy month in October. I've been to the EGX convention in London. I hope there's going to be more EGX in London, because that was actually pretty fun. Played a bunch of games. Going to go have a quick review over some of them, and I also visited the London MCM Expo. There was one game that I didn't manage to play, and that was Final Fantasy VII Remake. I never actually played the original, so I thought I'm not going to be able to make a very fair comparison between the original and the new remake. I mean, the new game seems really amazing, but at the same time I want to leave the experience until I actually get the game and play through it. Plus, I wasn't allowed to make any recordings, so that's another thing. One of the things I want to quickly touch on is the Pokemon Center, because I also visited that in October on the day after it opened, and that's in London White City. I think I've got that right. I might have gotten that wrong, but yeah. You can find out more details on the Pokemon website or do a quick Google search. When I got there, the queue time was 9 hours long. You're only allowed to buy 6 items, so each person is limited to buying 6 items from within the Pokemon store. They assured me that there was going to be more stock. I didn't actually manage to get inside because the queue was 9 hours long and some people camped overnight to just get inside. They also recommended that if for people who wish to go during a weekday, and preferably during a time where there isn't much kids around, because at the moment kids are on half term, so there's going to be plenty of kids around, and obviously it's going to be very busy. But yeah, I did manage to get outside of the store, and it looks pretty impressive, and I hope that we do get an official Pokemon store or Pokemon Cafe in London in the future. Aside from that, let's cover some of the EGX events. So at the EGX, there is the careers sort of corner where students especially, go around with their portfolio and speak to people within the industry in hopes of getting a job. And there's quite a lot of indie developers with a lot of interesting games. I didn't actually manage to get around to playing much of the games there this time, and I didn't really speak to anybody and submit a portfolio. I mean, I should have, but it's more for students. I did manage to play a game called Concrete Genie. There was no sound in the headset when I tried the one that was available for me. I'm not too sure what the narrative is about, but the gameplay is actually quite cool. The gameplay functions with a mix of motion sensors with the way you control the movement of your controller to start painting like pictures along the wall. I like the graphics for it. It seems like a really interesting game, and maybe in future I might consider getting it, but for now I do have quite a lot of games that I need to get through. And yeah, I mean, if I understood the narrative a little bit more, then I might have taken an even bigger interest into it, but sadly there wasn't any sound and I wasn't too sure what I was doing. But in terms of graphics, it was really interesting. It's one of the more beautiful games that I've played at the EGX convention. Moving on, there was also the Nintendo area, where they had the Nintendo Switch and a bunch of games available there. They also had Overwatch on the Nintendo Switch that was available for people to play. They also asked for volunteers to come up on stage to play through the game, give it a quick demo, and to experience the gameplay. I did manage to play on the game at the Nintendo area. I'm not too keen on the graphics because obviously I do play on PC, and in comparison there is a very noticeable drop in graphic quality for the Nintendo Switch version of Overwatch. The controls play very similar to any console versions of Overwatch. I mean, I have it on the PlayStation, and since I already have it on a PlayStation, I probably won't get the Nintendo Switch edition. The game is definitely fun. It functions similar to the original game, and I would recommend it if people want to have it on the Nintendo Switch. So another game I played at the Nintendo area was Luigi's Mansion, one of the new games that will be released on the 31st of October, on the day of Halloween. It is the latest title in the Luigi Mansion lineup for the Mario series, and this demo actually managed to convince me to actually want to get this game, although I was gifted one for my birthday, and eventually I'll get around to playing it and uploading some videos for it. It's a bunch of puzzles. It really fits in with the whole Halloween aspects because of all the spooky theme. It has elements of a side-scroller from like the classic retro games of Mario, but with some modern day elements integrated into the gameplay. So it's sort of like a 2.5D game. The graphics are really good, and I also enjoyed puzzles, and it feels like a game that really drew me in, and I really want to actually get on with playing it, but I need to find the time to actually get some gameplay in. But moving on, over at the Bandai area of the EGX convention was Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, one of the new Dragon Ball Z games that was going to be released in 2020. Unfortunately, it isn't going to be Xenoverse 3, a game that a lot of us have been anticipating. We really need a new race for that Xenoverse title, Xenoverse lineup. So Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is a retelling of the Dragon Ball Z storyline from the very beginning of Dragon Ball Z up to probably the Buu Saga. I'm not sure if it's going to cover the Super part of the Dragon Ball series. It probably will, probably in the form of DLCs. But aside from that, it's basically just another retelling of the entire Dragon Ball series. I was lucky enough to play on the demo, and unfortunately it isn't really a game that is convincing me. The demo didn't really convince me to go out of my way to buy the game when it comes out. I mean, I might buy it since I'm a Dragon Ball fan, but it's not really, how should I put it, the entire combat system is completely different from recent titles such as Xenoverse 2 or Dragon Ball FighterZ. Dragon Ball FighterZ was very arcade based, whereas with Xenoverse 2 there was a combat system which felt rather natural when you're playing it. With this, it sort of reminded me of Tenkaichi Budokai. The combat system was slightly odd, especially with the use of skills. The graphics was really great. I also enjoyed the cutscenes. It felt very anime-ish, but other than that, I'm not too sure. It's sort of going to be another hit and miss. It's just going to be another retelling of Dragon Ball in a newer, higher HD format. But yeah, I'm not too big of a massive fan of the current battle system, but I feel like it will be a type of combat system that you will eventually get used to as you play the game. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. One of the highlights of the EGX convention was the Avengers game. It's not too different from what was shown in the trailers at E3. It was just an alpha build, so it wasn't even a beta, it's just an alpha. There wasn't much, so you only play like the introduction of the game. There was bugs in the game. I ran into a bug whilst I was playing as Hulk, where some of the assets disappeared off the map. I'm not too keen on the actors, like the character models that they've selected for the Avengers game. They don't look anything like the Marvel MCU, and it really does take away from the whole experience. Yeah, some of the dialogues weren't that great. The Avengers game was actually pretty fun. It was a lot more fun than I expected, and it was definitely a game that I am looking forward to get when it comes out. So there is no Hawkeye. You get to play from Thor, Iron Man, Hulk, Captain America, and Black Widow. So pretty much the core Avengers from the original Avengers movie. I managed to complete the entire game within the allotted time with time to spare. And there was a few points where I did get stuck, and I was worried that I was going to run out of time. I wasn't going to be able to play through all of the characters. in the beginning, I played as 4. 4 was actually pretty fun, especially when you get to throw the hammer and call it back. Some of the dialogues were very cheesy, and it did make me cringe a little bit. I do want 4 to be wielding like Stormbreaker from like Avengers Endgame or Infinity War, but being able to swing around more near and smashing people to the ground and discharging electricity is definitely a lot of fun. Iron Man was the second character that you play. He's a bit more trickier to play as. He's not exactly smooth. After that, we played as Hulk. Hulk was actually Hulk became one of my favourite characters whilst I was playing that alpha build. He also did a thunderclap, and he did quite a number of moves that is reminiscent to the moves seen in the movies. After that, we played as Captain America. He looks a bit more beefy than Chris Evans, but his combat is very similar to the films where you get to throw a shield, and that was actually pretty fun. After that, we played as Black Widow, because it is developed by Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix, you know, the team that made Tomb Raider. Black Widow played very similar to how you would play Tomb Raider, like with the whole Lara Croft sort of combat. Playing as her, you face against the final boss, which was Taskmaster, which will be in the new Black Widow movie. And as I was fighting against him, what kept popping into my mind as I was playing it is Taskmaster going to be the same as what we're seeing in the game, or is he just going to be a completely different character by the time the movie comes out? And other than that, Miss Marvel's going to be in it. I'm not exactly a keen fan of Miss Marvel because we haven't seen anything of her yet. I'm hoping that Spider-Man will swing in, and I'm hoping that other sort of Marvel heroes will actually be available for us to play, even if it comes out in a DLC. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the new Marvel's Avengers game. Another game I managed to demo was the Journey to the West game, the Monkey King Returns. I'm a huge fan of Skylake, of Journey to the West, of Monkey King. So being able to play as Sun Wukong was definitely something that got me really hyped and excited. However, I'm not a keen fan of the overall gameplay. It felt very un-Journey to the West like. But then again, what I wasn't aware of at the time when I was playing the game was that this game is actually based on an animated film that released a few years back, starring Jackie Chan as Sun Wukong, well, the voice of Sun Wukong. So once I've probably seen the movie, I'll probably be more excited to play the game. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting game. I did play another weird game that sort of have a DJ rhythm, like it was a rhythm game, but at the same time it sort of had a bit of weird combat, and yeah, it had planets, music, and quite a number of different things. I'm not a keen fan of the game that I demoed. It was very weird and very bizarre, and it didn't feel like a typical rhythm game. So I don't even know what the game was called. At the London MCM Expo, I did also demo the Grand Blue game. I never actually played Grand Blue, but I've seen a lot of the characters and it has piqued my interest. And there is an anime about it. I might be interested in buying the game to play through it. I mean, it seems really interesting. It's sort of an arcade-based game, so it's not like the mobile RPG that's on the Android and Apple Store. London MCM Expo, I was with a friend and we did manage to play through the game, so it was quite interesting to, you know, have somebody to play with and to actually get a two-player experience rather than fighting a NPC or comp. I'm hoping that there will be a lot more than just a sort of arcade brawler, but until I actually play the full game, I won't be able to comment much on what this game is actually about towards the game. But that's all, and I hope to see you next time. Hey, thank you for watching that video. I hope you all enjoyed that. If you haven't already done so, please consider liking and subscribing. You can also drop any comments in the comment section below. Hit the bell icon, turn on notifications so you can get updates on my video uploads. You can also follow me on Twitter at KuroAkiGames, or search for my videos with hashtag KuroAkiGames, or add me on Instagram at KuroAkiGames. Also consider clicking on other videos, and I'll see you in the next one.